got some volume, testing it out. Somebody tell me, I guess in chat, if anything is not working out good. So here I am next to the hodag. I want to say that my lawyer Phil Adams out of Shreveport, Louisiana, and my investigator have both insisted that I talk about the writ to the Supreme Court. I haven't discussed it enough, and they told me that recently that I need to talk about that. Can I be heard? Sound is good? Okay. I got several hours on the road, using the road wireless. It's connected to my computer, and then I have it right here. It's pretty neat to go wireless like this. Okay, so I'm told that I need to talk more about the case, and yeah, he told me to focus on what the prosecutor said, and then what my lawyer said, because my lawyer said some really good things, even though the Supreme Court hasn't answered in 6 months. At least we can hash it out together in the public. Even if the Supreme Court doesn't want to discuss this, I still have an open, active case, and just waiting on like 6 people to decide on which way my case should go. Can it end, or does it get kicked back to the city judge? Robert Owsley. Does it get kicked back? So, where to begin? I guess I want to talk about what the prosecutor said. I know my prosecutor is not insisting that I talk anything about this case. You know, he's probably the one behind taking down one of my videos where I show all the paperwork that they gave me. They buried me in paperwork, and I live in a car. I live in my car, and they were burying me in paperwork, which I have now thrown all away. All right, I kept it long enough just to get thrown in jail, and then after jail, I threw everything away. And to my detriment, all right, to my detriment, I threw away a hearing. I threw away a hearing that was the transcript for the first hearing that I paid $150 for. I threw it away, and then when I got a lawyer while I was in jail, he later asked to see that transcript, and I'm like, I threw it away. So it cost me another $150 for Shanita, because Shanita charges full price for everything. All right, if 5 people ask for the same transcript, she'll charge them all the same price. Okay, regardless if she printed it off for one person, and now she's got copy. She writes. She has to take the time to type up the transcript. And of course you could trust her to be honest about typing up what she hears, because she's just a very the whole system she's a part of is very trustworthy. So she'll charge everybody the same price, when it's, as far as I understand, it says in the law that once one person gets it, it's public domain. It's already printed. It's like she charges people to like she's retyping the whole thing for each individual person, when she only does it once, really, in reality. Okay, they live in their voodoo, voodoo, like what ChatGPT does, hallucinate. They live in that hallucination. They live with their hallucinations, and they're in that hallucinatory world. So and yeah. So I threw away that transcript for the first hearing, and yeah, that was a mistake. But yeah, they buried me in paperwork, and I keep everything digital now. So my lawyer, I've saved everything that my lawyer and that he's written, that the prosecutor's written, all the paperwork I've saved as a PDF, and I have it. I might have scrolled through my lawyer's reply, but I guess I didn't give it enough conversation. So here I'll do my best and try to talk about it. Oh, watch your step. I didn't even read that before. Well, let me just say that I'm at a table that you got to reserve first, okay? To meet the needs of all our visitors, check in at the front desk. I got 2 hours, and it's not busy today. So please be considerate of your neighbor sharing space. Thank you for understanding and cooperation. Okay, and yeah, I figured this volume's low. There's nothing I can do about that. I got the mic. The mic is at the fullest level, so I see the mic is moving. So it's showing that I should have an echo. This room is an echo chamber. But you see door. There's a door. And then here's the door. So I'm in a space where people are coming in and out of. Okay. All right. Here, let's see if this will show. So yeah, people can exit and enter here, and at their leisure. And this is the first type of room I've been in where you could just, it's like you could check out the vestibule. So this is the hodag right here. You can only see the back side of it. This might be an old Carnegie library. All right, we need to talk about this paperwork. I only have 2 hours. The audio is only coming in the right channel? Okay, if the audio is coming in the right channel, that's my mistake. I thought I had that covered. It doesn't indicate if it's coming in the only the right channel, I have to actually go into the app and fix that. And I don't know if I can fix it as I'm live streaming. Let me see if this shows up. I didn't know I would be doing this. Okay. Is that what everybody else is saying? It's only in the right channel? Let me see if I can pull up that window. Nope, it don't show. That's too bad. Yeah, it's just a black screen. Okay. Oh, that would be cool to see too. Okay. Well, I can at least get into the road. Okay. Both channels will work. It's only coming in the right ear. Let me see. Let's see. Split mode. How about this? Okay. How does this sound? All right, I just changed it from split to merged. So how does that? Because merged actually should make it for both ears. So how does it sound now? I mean, all I see is that the audio is working, but the left and right channel is a different thing. That's something with Rode and not with OBS. Refresh your page sounds better. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think merged. Okay, so merged on the Rode, and I can do that as I'm live streaming, because I mean Rode it's got a separate page, so that should cover it. Okay, all right. Now I'm going into the paperwork. Let me open up the I just saved it. Okay, city's opposition. Okay, I want to click out. I'll keep that. Dismiss. Okay. Let's see if I can see window capture. Okay. And whoops. Nope. Not this one. Okay. Now the most important part is what my lawyer said, so I'll go through this kind of quick. Let's see, we got the prosecutor Benjamin has written all this, and then he goes into his lies. Let's see, in the first sentence, called 911. Okay, the first sentence he goes into his lie. She called 911, and my lawyer said that she didn't call 911. Because she didn't see it as an emergency. So that should show a difference between probable cause and reasonable suspicion or just general suspicion. That doesn't, because she called the regular police phone line, that doesn't contribute to probable cause. But calling 911 would contribute to a probable cause. So depending on whatever phone line you use determines probable cause or not, or at least it's a factor. At least calling the police department is a little bit contributing to probable cause, but not as much as calling 911. What would even be further contributing to probable cause would be having a button to press that instantly alerts the cops to your location to get them to respond. So there's three levels there for probable cause that you weigh. You could probably maybe give it a scale of 1, 2, and 3, and then add that as part of a collection for a chart, for a graph. So we first all have the lowest setting. Probably even lower than that though would be if she stood on the side of the road, and that would be the lowest setting. Lowest setting that contributes to probable cause is if she maybe stood on the side of the road and waved the police car down as they're driving past. So there's different levels that contribute. You know that the logical Judge Ousley, the harmful logical Judge Ousley, would definitely weigh very carefully these levels that contribute to probable cause, because that's just how great of a judge he is. Let's see. She said there's a patron here acting very strange. Okay, very. Let's see, alarming. She just said strange, and that's what. So she would call 911 to tell those operators that I'm acting strange. Right there is quite concerning on how they abuse 911. It doesn't quite look good for her. It actually put her in more of a defensive position, if that's what happened. It's not to her benefit to have a record that she called 911. All right, So actually, my lawyer's doing her a favor by trying to clear the air that she called only the police department, not 911, to report that somebody very strange is wearing a green army jacket. Okay? So my lawyer's actually trying to help her, but they don't see that. They're a part of the system. They're blind by their hallucinations, because they don't do very good with words, written down words. They hallucinations. They just they live in this smoke screen, the rose-colored smoke screen. There's holding two backpacks. That's not a real that's not a call you want to make to 911. But my prosecutor, he thinks that is a relevant call that you make to 911. So he says it twice here. She testified at trial consistent with her 911 call. These are real 911 calls. It's like, why don't you just call 911 to ask them what the time is while you're at it? 911 almost seems to be like turning into an operator. How the operators used to be when you dialed 0 and from a payphone and asked them about things. 911, did 911 come after dial 0 for the operator? I forget. But there was a transition, it seems, and 911's kind of turned almost into the operator thing. People ask, people get lost. They'll call 911 and say, I don't know where I'm at. I'm scared. I think I'm in a scary place. Please help me. And people will make those types of calls. So right from the start, my lawyer had to say that Prosecutor Benjamin was lying in his first sentence, but he didn't say that in his first sentence. Let me just pull that up. Okay, it's open. Okay, it's in the same. Okay, I got it. So this is my lawyer's response, and I think he's following what my prosecutor's saying, because he's still my prosecutor. I mean, the case is still open and active and alive and running along through the system. Although it's in a bottleneck, but that's a bottleneck. It's not a wall. My case isn't up against a wall right now. It's in a bottleneck, and that bottleneck is called the Louisiana Supreme Court. They take large volumes of cases and then narrow the hole that the case can pass through. All right, and so there's a lot of collection of cases, and you have to look at where you are on the list. But my lawyer has made a response, and yeah, he talks about how the prosecutor. Oh no, he has to talk about himself a little bit. Okay, well, we'll skip over that. Let's see. Disappointing to see this court fail to remediate. Outset, worth emphasizing, the opposition failed to address the detailed analysis brought up in the Louisiana Supreme Court. Okay. Yeah. That's just Prosecutor Benjamin's way of doing things. If you can't think of a response to make, don't say anything. All right? If you don't want certain evidence to be shown, whether exculpatory or not, just pretend it doesn't exist. That's opposite of a hallucination. All right? So in Louisiana, the legal practice is either have a hallucination or a memory lapse. Okay? There's no written documentation that much. They limit the written documentation, and they work from their own heads, which, our perspectives change all the time, over time, and they work with hallucinations, or, I don't know, what's another word for memory lapse? Can anybody think of another word for memory lapse? Well, that's okay. I don't want to put any pressure on the chat here. But that's a much different system, one that's not consistent. All right, it's a very inconsistent way of conducting your legal business. I said that Benjamin was just throwing something in a wall to see what sticks. Okay, so that the mud against the wall is hallucination. All right, but then there's the I don't know, dementia. There's two sides of there's nothing really solid in between. It's not even a teeter-totter. All right, a teeter-totter is, it's at least got a fulcrum that's balanced. That his fulcrum it goes off center, and it moves too much. It's an unhinged. It's a teeter-totter that's not securely hinged. All right. So my lawyer has responded to directly. He responded directly to the 911 at some point. Okay, and the opposition contains numerous factual errors and misstatements. Okay, or another way of saying it is the prosecutor's stupid, acting very stupid, not supported by a consideration of all the trial records that have been pointed out. Okay, he's being stupid about it. All right, Prosecutor Benjamin is being stupid about it in different ways. For example, within the first sentence of the first paragraph of the first page of the opposition statement of the case, the prosecutor incorrectly states that the librarian called 911. All right, and if you look on the transcripts for my trial, the trial records show that she didn't call 911. She made it really clear. Okay, as might be expected if imminent violence was truly suspected by her, but she insisted. I could probably take this bushy thing off. How will this sound? I just remembered I could take that thing off. Usually I use the bushy thing. Am I not even showing myself? Wow, look at that. Here I'm all covered up. Let me shrink that down. Okay, oh no, that's not the one. Shrink this down. Okay, I can't even. Over here, shrink down more. Okay, maybe put it down here like the professionals do. And then I'll need to, okay, that'll go over there good. All right, so I was talking about this bushy thing. I had a bushy thing on my mic. So this is used for wind. All right, they call it a cattail, but this is more like a bunny tail. So I would call it the bunny tail. So my lawyer instantly, my lawyer was trying to butter up the Supreme Court. Why it doesn't look quite as good to just go in on this paragraph. Imagine if he used this as his first paragraph. All right, he's introducing himself to the Supreme Court, and this is his first, this is how he launches into it. He's only got 30 pages, so he doesn't want to waste too much time, waste too much space trying to formalities. He doesn't want to. You want to use some formality when it's lawyers talking to Supreme Court judges, but you don't want to overdo it. And so he introduced himself as a student out of I don't know, that Northwest College or whatever it's called in Natchitoches. He spends a couple paragraphs doing that. But imagine if he just went, I would have gone right into, the opposition contains numerous factual errors and misstatements. Okay, that's his second paragraph. Imagine if he skipped over the formalities of talking about his ties to Natchitoches, how he went to LSU Law Center, how he cares about civil rights, especially in his hometown. He goes into that as his first paragraph, but he didn't need to. I don't know exactly how lawyers usually make responses and replies to the responses and all that back and forth. But it might not look so good. Might make him look a little too combative. At least that was his. I'm guessing that was his thinking, is he didn't want to look too combative right on his reply, and go right into how Prosecutor Benjamin is a hallucinating idiot. So, let's see, he talks about the opposition, 911, defense counsel repeatedly informs the prosecutor of this fact. In the defense application, this is the reply. So my lawyer wrote the writ, which is how old? 6 months, 2 weeks, 4 days old, and that was sent. I think that's the time frame I'm giving. Prosecutor makes his response. He had 2 weeks, and then my lawyer had 1 week to respond. So this is the response to the reply, or if you're maybe practicing a little differently, it could be a reply to a response. It could go either way. It could be, you could call it, depends on, it's a nickel or a buck or whatever it's a buck or a dollar. I don't know. It's interchangeable words, and you could use however you want. As far as I think, maybe the legal standards in the Black's Law Dictionary are different. So yeah, that was okay. And he made the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. That's I already went through one court. We sat over my case sat over 6 months with Third Circuit Court. I forget how long exactly. But and now we got another 6+ months going for the Supreme Court. It's just probably just sitting on their desk. I mean, my lawyer sent. I got a picture of it, but he sent a big stack of paperwork that all 5 judges get, and they're just kind of they got this. They got it. I think in their files somewhere. These Supreme Court judges have the files, and they're just kind of sitting on them and doing whatever. Every so often they go into session for maybe a couple of weeks, then go out of session for a couple more weeks, and then back into session. They're on again, off again. I think they only work half the year. They might have side jobs. And when they're not in session, they're not in session every day of the week, every day of the year. They might be in session only half the year. So they can only get so much done when they limit themselves. They don't want to overwork themselves. It takes a lot to really think through these cases, and so that maybe they think about the case on their off duty as well. I'm not sure. Let's see, we got, a donation. Thank you, Constitutional Freedom F. This illegal system in that city and state is a disgrace to the Constitution. Yep. Yeah, I've never had a worse fight in my life. And I've never spent more time in jail. It's like you spend extra time in jail, you spend extra time fighting it, and then plus, you're on top of that. Those are your basic constitutional rights are violated, and that's the main course. Okay, is your constitutional rights being violated? All right, with the standard way that they conduct themselves. All right, just hold on a second. Oh, it's good. All right. Yeah. With the standard. So this is an open room, of course, and I know they can hear me outside of the room a little bit. So, and then the librarian's dancing. The standard is the right to a lawyer, right to a speedy trial, right to a jury. All right, those are the meat. Those are the things that are the main course of let's see, whatever they call it. There's so many words. This is why I don't like talking about this stuff, is I don't know all the verbiage, all the words you got to use. There's let's see, somebody else is coming in. Let me think of that word quick though. Come on, what is that word? The process, due process. That's all a part of the due process. So okay, I've got a visitor here. Oh, thanks, H. Havoc. You know exactly what I was thinking. All the part of the due process, and that's the meat, and then all that is just totally obliterated. It's corrupted. All right. No lawyer, jury, no decent due process. Due process is pretty much non-functional. And then on top of that, getting thrown in jail, being forgotten in jail, spending extra time in jail to only have the case the case was just kind of reset. They reset the case. Exactly. Both jump out of a plane. So my lawyer responded, and continues to respond in a lot more words. He spent almost a full paragraph about 911 and how that's a different. Let's see, Prosecutor Benjamin mentions it twice. Okay, and then he goes into something else. Captures. Okay, this is Prosecutor Benjamin. Captures the dialogue of Mrs. Park. And I swear it's so strange how this works for copy and paste. All right, when the city provides a document, when Shanita or whoever works for Prosecutor Benjamin, whoever sends out their paperwork, when they put it in a PDF format, I cannot copy and paste it. And I think that's intentional. Okay? I think it's intentional. All right? But when my lawyer sends out PDF, look at that. I can copy and paste it. Okay? And I think Prosecutor Benjamin doesn't want it copyable. When he sends out a PDF, he wants to ensure that it's not copyable. And you can kind of see it it looks different. It's kinked, okay? When they intentionally kink that paperwork so that you can't copy it. The computer, at least this current state of the computer program, can't recognize it. So that's a little frustrating. All paperwork that I get from the city is uncopyable. You have to manually type it out. And I mean, that's good on them. Slow down your work. Make it harder for you to be able to respond to them. It adds to the time that you need to respond, and can take away some of your fumes. It can take away some of your gas. Just having to retype everything. Let's see. At trial. Okay, this is Prosecutor Benjamin. At trial, the librarian. He wrote quite a bit, but not as much as my lawyer. The defendant first looked up towards the third floor. I looked up, and so now that's something to talk about. All right, that's probable cause. All right. Not only did the librarian have to call 911 and talk about what I was wearing, they also had to say where I was looking too, because looking is a crime. Wearing clothes and looking looking up towards the third floor is enough. Because I mean, he comes down. He comes down to the rationalization that he falls back on what Judge Ousley said for my conviction. Sir, I'm just asking a question. What is it you would like to help me with? Sir, I'm just asking a question. I went upstairs to the third floor and discovered it was locked. Because I checked all the doors and not the windows? I mean, come on. Why would I only check the doors? Why not doors and windows? Make me look horrible, okay? Why not check for cracks? I checked for all the cracks in the walls, checked all the doors, shaking them violently, checked all the windows, looking out every angle. Any locks, all locks, I made sure to look at. All right, so I looked at all the locks in the library, because that's what a criminal does, and staring is a crime. In Missouri, they've established that they'll respond to calls about staring as being a crime, being probable cause, to then be able to use this law of failure to ID, because they got enough probable cause. Judge Ousley believed that there's probable cause in looking and wearing clothes. You can run OCR on a scan, still checking in and interested in what you have to say. Answered aggressively. He said that. You can read this? Let me just see. Oh yeah, it is readable. Okay. Yeah, it's big enough. Depending on your screen. After these observations, called the police, and that was their phone. This is the lawyer's choice. They can say he could have put the phone number, to really clarify. Called the police at 911. My lawyer, he's so detailed. He could have put the phone number. All right, now this is hindsight bias. All right. So I'm back on my lawyer's words. The prosecutor incorrectly states that Russell and Parker called 911, but what he could say. Now, where does he clearly say? Where does he clarify that I called the police? Let's see, imminent violence. But she instead called the city non-emergency number. Okay, and he could have put, Natchitoches. Let's see, Natchitoches Police, Louisiana, non-emergency number. Let's see, places, Rhinelander. Results for Rhinelander? There's Natchitoches. Okay, there it is. All right, they got a 2.2 stars out of 17. That's pretty good for them. So, Rosalind, he could have looked up the phone number, and in his reply, he could have said, but she, instead of 911, she called the city non-emergency number at 318-352-8101. Now, do you think that Rosalind has that phone number memorized? Or maybe they got a little Rolodex. She didn't press a button. They don't have an emergency button. She actually had to use the phone. And I mean, I got the call. Imagine if she pressed a button. There's no record. There's not going to be any record of that. Like when I was in North Dakota, and the clerk pressed a button on me to get the cops running. You ask for the records of that, and it'd just be a ding or a bzz. It'd be, the record would just be bzz. That's it. There's no communicating what I was wearing and where I was looking and walking to, and all the cracks in the walls I was looking at in the library. It would have just been a bzz. That's what they need if they have to be contacting the police so much. Just have that direct button access. In order to require ID, they must first tell you that you are detained. They told you that so you didn't refuse the lawful demands. Well, I mean, there's little mini steps to take between the big steps, and it just totally blew through the big steps. The cops blow through the cops blow through the mini steps. The prosecutor blows through mini steps. The judge, it's like the second guessing, questioning what you're doing. They don't question what they're doing at all. All right, they hallucinate how they think things should go. And then the second questioning what you're doing, being self-aware of what you're doing. That falls back on just being just ignoring other things that may be a factor in the situation. He didn't even check with the others what have been. Yeah, it was just kind of the checking with between the Officer Davis and the librarian was, do you want him arrested? Do you want us to arrest him? Imagine if the camera was on Officer Davis and his face, if we could see his facial reactions when he was asking the librarian, do you want us to arrest him? It would have probably been a real stern, a look like he was ready to do it. He was ready to just jump right into the arrest. Ready to go. But was he gloved up? I forget if he was gloved up. Maybe they just don't really practice that kind of safety. They're not very health conscious. They're willing to spread their disease to each other, infect each other with each other's diseases, but not using the health safety standards. Because I don't think he was gloved up. I don't think anybody was gloved up. They just kind of Officer Miller seemed to have strutted. Officer Davis just kind of casually walking in. Showing no real concern. And I've been in the military, and I've heard of guys getting in trouble during exercises, like when the base would pretend the base is under attack. There was one guy. He was just kind of wandering around with his gun on his back, kicking at rocks, checking out an area, and it didn't look very professional. Okay, and he was seen. It was during day shift, the political shift. And he was seen by a higher officer who did that guy cover his mouth? I think I might not be in the best of shape here. I got this enclosed room. Need to air it out. But he wasn't looking very professional. He should have had like holding his gun in front of him. He should have been like running and ducking and diving and taking like strategic positions as he's looking around. Instead, he was just kind of wandering around, moping around, kicking up dust, and he got caught for that. And during an exercise, you got to take exercises seriously in the military, or you'll get in trouble. He might have lost a stripe. Let's see. They're gonna eventually learn you don't be messing with our brother. Okay. Yeah, well, that's Louisiana's messing right now is just keeping that sword of Damocles hanging over my head. All right, they just like to keep it hanging over my head. That's their operation. They'll do things quickly if they could throw you in and then let you languish in jail. They like to let you languish in jail. They make people languish in jail just as long as they make people languish in the Supreme Court. It's just something they can hold. They feel like they can hold over you. It's something that must get some kind of satisfaction from. Otherwise, why would they continue to do it? They get satisfaction from this. Let's see. Okay, so have I covered enough about what my lawyer has to say? I mean, we've discussed the 911 and how she could have called, or she actually called, the librarian actually called 318-352-8101 and not 911. Or maybe she called another number. I don't know. I put in the search non-emergency number, and this is there's another one. Oh, but that's for the sheriff. Okay. So I'm assuming that's non-emergency. 8101. Okay. So that was argued. The phone number that Rosalind used. We could probably ask. It's kind of subjective though. She would give subjective answers. How did you get that number? How long did it take you to look up that number? Because there's a difference between the amount of time it takes to know 911 is it, compared to knowing the phone number to the police. It comes down to how often, if she was able to get that non-emergency number, how often, you got to ask, how often does she call? How long did it take her to get that number? Does she call it often? Did she have to type it in to the Google search and hope that the number's not blocked by Google in favor of another number, which is not. It's actually right here. So there's factors that come into play with the use of the phone, the simple use of the phone. All right, just that alone, how she made the call, how she found the number. It wasn't, and then you can go into what was said. So Jimenez had a lot to say, even though he had nothing to say. He had a ton of things to say afterward. He had nothing to say beforehand, before the police contact. All right, at least there was a conversation between him and Rosslyn, but I mean, the police didn't see any reason to talk to him before arresting me. They could have gone back to him to confirm. They could have asked him, "Do you want Travis arrested?" The cops only got the opinion of one librarian, and then not the other, and then backtracked with Jimenez to make it look like, yeah, Jimenez probably would have told the cops that he wanted me arrested too, but they're just trying to arrive at that type of conclusion in a back channel type of way through the trial. Turner and Driver is mentioned in my lawyer's response. Maybe the response, definitely somewhere. I think I recall seeing that. Oh yeah, then they talk about floor restrictions. Third floor was off limits. Off limits, but you could take the elevator to get up there. So it's really strange how they really don't seem to enforce it 100%. You have a 50%. There's half. They only removed half the access to the third floor. They locked the stairwell, but you could take the elevator up there. And regardless, it's not a gold mine up there anyway. I mean, where there's meeting rooms, I mean, we could at least walk up to the door. That's a standard in every library. Wherever there's a meeting room, there's no extra barrier. There's usually no extra barrier between the door to the meeting room. All right, and these guys, the prosecutor, the librarians, everybody, the judge even, are arguing that I've violated even some kind of barrier between the door to the meeting room. And I've been in, this is a meeting room. I'm talking about this third floor access, which is meeting rooms. And I'm in a meeting room in a library. And this is actually a meeting room where people are coming and going, coming through. All right? You don't see the librarians calling the cops on any of us for walking through this meeting room, do you? Have any cops showed up? So it's amazing. It's about the layout of the library. What if the library looked like this? All right, what if the design was like this and not an old bank? Okay, they're still like treating the library like it's a bank, and I mean, libraries are put in all kinds of weird buildings, warehouses and barns and old jails. They could be put into anything. They're not Walmarts. They don't need to have a standard floor layout. They prefer it to actually look a little different from the next city over, because the difference in appearance is what can attract people like me. So, let's see. So what have I got? How much time has this been taking? I think I've taken quite a bit of time here, and I don't only have so much time in this room. I need to go to my channel. If this is over an hour, I think I'll just stop. Actually, I don't need to check that. Over an hour, I check 54 minutes? Maybe I could just cut it short anyway. So we talked about the 911 call and then walking around the library, and my lawyer points out how the prosecutor has lied and hallucinated Too bad he couldn't use the word hallucinates. That's becoming a popular word now. So I think I'm going to just stop it here and regroup